Welcome to the dynamic third-person camera add-on for Minecraft Bedrock Edition, giving you a more immersive experience while you play Minecraft. Or maybe the shoulder cam is more your thing, giving you the RPG video game Minecraft experience. Hey everyone, my name is Echo, and welcome to a guide/tutorial for the dynamic third-person perspective add-on. Now, I went ahead and checked YouTube, and there really isn't that many great voice tutorials explaining how this works. But don't worry, today in this video, I've got you covered. For those interested in downloading this, there are going to be 4 downloads that you need. There is going to be 1 resource pack. It is going to be the dynamic third-person camera. As for the behaviors pack, there are going to be 3 that you need to have enabled. The first thing you need is Cammy's script configuration. Now, Cammy is the creator. I'll leave a link down below so you can check them out. Really talented add-on creator. This needs to be on the top. In second place, it needs to be UIQ. And on the bottom, it needs to be dynamic third-person camera. This is not a tutorial on how to download this add-on, but if you guys get stuck, I might bring you a separate video. After that, make sure you have the experiments on, and then you're good to go. So there are many different camera perspectives that you can mess around with. In fact, there is a few default settings, but also customization options. Now, this all starts with a specific command. So what you want to do in chat is type in /function space config. By doing this and hitting enter, this will pop up. It will say dynamic third-person camera. Now, this is slightly buggy, so when you press it, you'll notice that things don't really make sense for the first time. If you move this slightly, more things appear and it becomes a lot more active. Now, as of right now, we have our settings set to custom. Inside of custom, you are able to change all of these settings to your own satisfaction. Like I said, there is no right or wrong way to use this. The more you test it, the more you're going to find what you do and do not like. Now, if you do find this quite overwhelming at first, don't worry, because at the top, we do have some preset options. As of right now, I'm using the shoulder camera, but we do have dynamic camera, long distance camera, and center camera. Now, if I was to go ahead and hit long distance camera and back out, you'll see here, it has executed the function, but nothing has changed at all. And this is a quick reminder. Every single time you use this, you need to hit submit. So if I was to go ahead and change this to long distance, I got to scroll down and hit submit. Check this out. It is incredible to use. And if you are a content creator, again, this is just going to make your video content so much better. But I'll show you the default of all of these. The camera one is what I showed you before. I like this the best. Now, when you do crouch with this one, the position is right behind your player. And when you do crouch and turn to a different location, you can see how it snaps to kind of like a different shoulder. So if you're crouching and looking right, it snaps left. If you're doing it on left, it snaps right. And it's so cool. Even when you're flying in creator mode, it is the same. And yes, for those of you that are interested, it is also the exact same for when you're swimming as well. And this is the same for every single one of them. The one after shoulder is going to be dynamic. And what this does is it goes pretty much behind your player and a little bit higher up. This is also something that I like to use. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to have some questions like, how is the experience with mining, chopping down trees, and stuff like that? I will get into that because you don't actually have to stay in the third person behind perspective every single time. Now, I've already showed you guys the long distance one, but the one I've not actually messed around with is the one on the bottom, which is the center camera. Let's have a quick look at this one. So this is literally just straight up behind you, which honestly, I think could be a really cool camera as well. Once you found the camera perspective that you like, now it's time to customize it to your own satisfaction. Let's go with the command one more time. Hit the dynamic third person, and you will notice right at the top, it's now on custom. So whatever one you have previously selected, you can now customize this. Now, when it comes to dynamic first person and vertical smooth transition, I recommend keeping these enabled. Otherwise, if you go ahead and increase this, we hit submit, you'll see like how everything's kind of bouncing all over the place and your experience becomes incredibly messy. I actually think a lot of the default commands that Cami has these set to are probably the best to experience to start off with. Now, a setting that you can mess around with is going to be scope perspective. We currently have this set to aim mode. Now, aim mode is when I'm just standing here and I start to shoot, you can see here, it's kind of still like a shoulder perspective. But the longer you hold this in, you will then enter the first person mode. So if I'm just like holding this in and tapping it slightly, you can see here the crosshairs are also slightly different as well. Try not to kill him too much here. But again, if we hold it all the way in, first person does become active. But some people don't like that. So if you wanted to go ahead and change this one, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people did. So again, if you're in a tough situation, you need your bow, hit first person, hit this. As soon as you begin to tap this, you'll see here we enter first person straight away. Like I said, there are specific weapons you can hold that will massively enter you into first person straight away anyway. So you get the best of both worlds here. I love the whole RPG experience. You could have this as none, I guess. So I think this will just mean that you don't actually scope in at all. You just stay in this perspective. As for target stabilizer, according to Cami, this just makes your camera automatically rotate to the camera's targeting location. It's already on by default. Peek when sneak says it adds a lean when sneaking. As for peak camera distance, you can change this to go a lot higher or a lot lower. We also have the first person when riding. Now, I've left that on, so let's get ourselves a pig, or in fact, a horse. For me, third person on a camera, I feel like I'm on a great adventure. But not everybody is going to love this. So run the commands, hit configuration, scroll up, I'm guessing, until you find the riding one. So we'll have the first person when riding, hit submit, and you're back to how you've known Minecraft on a horse for a very long time. So with this, you're able to customize your crosshairs. You can see as of right now, it's a dot. We get a little bit closer, it's kind of like 2 arrows. We begin to shoot, it's 4 different arrows. So if you run the command one more time, go into configuration, we scroll up slightly, you are going to see crosshair type. There's multiple types. We set it to type 1 to start off with. So I think type 1 is just going to be a dot for you. I think it's going to be a dot all the time rather than the multiple options. I think the next one we have here might well be the arrows as well. So we'll run it one more time. We'll go to type 2. We'll hit submit. So type 2 is all of the arrows at once. I think dynamic is the best because you have the experience of all of them. So the last one we have, I think this one is going to be the 2 arrows from left and right. 3, submit, and yes, it is. This one feels like a more RPG style in my experience, but dynamic, you get the best of all of them. I am going to be using this, that every time I hold this in my hand, we are going to be in the first person perspective. Because I imagine there are going to be times that you would like to be in first person. So what I'm going to do here is run the command. We're going to find the main hand ID, which is going to be main hand item ID. Make sure you turn this on. Now, for example, if you wanted it to be a diamond axe, it would have to be diamond_axe. But we're going to be using a spyglass, for example. So we're going to do this. We're going to hit submit. Every time I'm holding a spyglass, I will always be in the first person perspective. So at certain stages, if you just wanted to run around in first person, you could just use this command, this item. It can be assigned to anything at all. If you wanted it to be a torch, a pickaxe, you could do that. So at this point, what I am going to do is grab myself 2 axes. We are going to use a diamond axe, but we're not going to use a netherite axe. I'm going to go to /game mode survival here when we do this. So we'll run the same command. We'll change this to, hold on, diamond_axe, and we'll hit submit here. So we're currently in first person. Now, you guys are probably going to say, what's it like when you're mining, Echo? Well, Obviously, you can mine regularly when you're holding this, right? But let me show you how easy it is actually to mine. So we'll use a netherite one, for example. So even if you are in third-person camera, you begin to mine. When you go into a gap like this, you can just mine like normal. You don't actually have a problem. You don't actually have to mine in a different camera perspective. Because it can get quite messy. And that's also going to be the same when you're mining, by the way. So when you get into a gap like 3, you can begin to mine like normal. As for the rest, these are all just about offsetting cameras and seeing where you want them to be. You've also got a free look experience as well. So the free look means when you're turning around, you can kind of like stand here. So it looks like you can see the background. Really good for taking thumbnail screenshots, to be honest with you. And you get the camera perfect right there. But there's just so many things to mess around with. Now, there is one more thing I would like to show you guys. There is a camera. You've probably seen it right at the start. There is a camera option with this. Now, if you just tap this, I mean, it is aiming for you to use it such as touch controls. But obviously, moving around, it can be a little bit tedious, I'll be honest with you. But this is what I used in the introduction of today's video. It was like, hey guys, my name is Echo. And you can see here, you can just like use it. It is a little bit laggy. There's a little bit of latency behind it, but apart from that, if you wanted to take some really cool behind screenshots, you know what I mean? Like this, like just hold on. Let's get the perfect example. Like just enjoying the terrain kind of thing. Then this is absolutely perfect for you. Now, when you crouch, it gets it out of there. So I hope today's video has helped you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I only spent a couple of hours messing around with this, so there's probably a lot more for me to even learn. This is a 10 out of 10 add-on. Links are down below. See you all in the next video.